So hello everyone, this is lecture 35 for the classical physics. In the last lecture we have completed everything about the Poisson's bracket. We discussed every kind of questions can be asked in the paper and we did up to here. So today we will start with action angle variable. So this term or this method is used to calculate the time period frequency of a oscillatory system. Okay, means any oscillatory system exists which have the bound motion. You can calculate the time period by using this action angle variable method. Okay. Now see, normally we encounter with a potential like a simple harmonic oscillator which is in this form. Means force is this, means linear force we have, and potential will be kx square by 2. So normally we have this kind of system, and we know for this our time period is 2 pi by t, 2 pi by omega, and this omega is nothing but under root k by m, where this k is spring constant or the oscillator constant, m is mass. So that's how you can calculate for this kind of system. Now see what happens, means the system can be become complicated when this force is not linear, means now force is depending on some x to the power n. Then how you can calculate the time period or the frequency. Okay, so then this method came. Okay, so first we will calculate for the simple system, then we will see that how can we explore this system to any kind of potential. Okay, so any kind of bound system because only bound system can have the time period or the oscillatory motion. Okay, so we'll see how it is possible. So first let's see the definition of this. It is a mathematical method tool with the help of which one can calculate the angular frequency or time period of the motion of the particle under the influence of a non-linear force or a potential like this form. So this method we use to calculate the time period or frequency of a system in which potential is in means force is non-linear and potential is in this form. And here n should be even number, n can't be odd. So why it is means why potential should be x to the power n and n should be even. See, here we have kx square by 2. So we know how the potential curve is drawn for this. Potential curve is something like a parabola, means something like this is parabola for this kx square by 2. And when you have a parabola in this kind of system, you have the two means the points or the turning points. So this is a bound motion, here also this will be bound motion everywhere. Okay, so that's why we can find the time period of frequency for this kind of system, because there will be definitely time period here for this oscillatory system. But what happens if there is x or x to the 3, means here n is odd, then what happens? Let's see, here n is 3, then the plot will be something like this. Something like this plot we will get. For the x negative, you will get negative values of v. Now see, there is this curve is not bound, means anywhere if you take any energy, this will be unbound motion. So if the motion is unbound, then you can't have the oscillatory motion. So oscillatory motion is possible only in the bound motion, and this will be bound only when this power is even. So hope you now understand this thing. But there can be one more modification to this also. If you make the mod here, means in place of this you can write mod of x and then power n, then n can be anything, because anyhow we should get this kind of curve which has bound or the turning points. So we need to get this kind of curve, every kind of curve which have this kind of system, this kind of curve, we can find the frequency or time period for that system. So if this x to the power 1, but now now this x is in mod, so whatever x you have, the v always will be positive, and you will get this kind of curve for this. Now see, here also you are getting this bound curve, and you will have a turning point, you will have the oscillatory motion. So you can find your time period of oscillation or the frequency for this kind of system also. So the main point is here that you should get this kind of curve, means you should have a bound motion, only then you can find. So that is our target. So now we can find our time period and oscillation for any kind of potential. Now let's see how we use this action angle variable and what is this thing, so that we can find the time period. Now I only defined you that which kind of system can give you time period and frequency. So I hope this is clear to you. Now see, if it is mod, then it will be defined for any value of m. It can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, anything. You will always get this kind of curve for this. If it is in this form, then n should be even. Now potential may also be type this for the application of the action angle variable method. So I already told you this thing. Now what is action angle variable? So first we will see for the simple harmonic oscillator, which about which we know the potential already. So action angle variable j, we define it by j, is defined as the area enclosed within a closed phase curve at a given energy. So what is phase space curve? So phase curve, phase trajectory, we already studied about this when we started our lectures. So if you have a potential curve, then you can draw this potential curve in terms of momentum and the position. So that defines the phase trajectory of the particle, and we call that as phase trajectory. So when you draw a phase trajectory of any particle which have potential, this kind of potential, then the area carried by this phase space curve, phase trajectory, is called the action angle variable. Okay, so this area is j equal to this area. Now when you have bound motion, so it will always be a closed curve, always will be a closed curve when you have bound motion. So this area can be defined as, you can divide it into the 4 portions, or the total area you can find, it will be p dx. Means you can take this small dx, and you know how to find the area in terms of integration. It will be p in the y-axis and x and the x at the x-axis. So it will be p dx, and the integration will give you complete area. You can find the area of this first quadrant, then just multiply with 4, you can get all the area. So this area is called the action angle variable. Now how can we find the time period of frequency using this area? So that is the question. So let's first see for this potential, then we can see for a general case. So for a simple harmonic oscillator of m mass, will have total energy equal to this, p square by 2m plus half kx square e. Now see, we can find this, means see, first we know what is the phase trajectory for this kind of harmonic oscillator. So this will be ellipse, and when x equal to 0, you will get p equal to under root 2 me. So it will under root 2 me and minus under root 2 me. And when p equal to 0, you will get x equal to under root 2e by k. So under root 2e by k and minus 2e by k. So these are your corner points. Now this will be ellipse for the harmonic oscillator. So we can find directly the area. That will be pi AB. A is this distance, B is this distance. So pi AB will give you this, A is this, B is this. So it will be 2 pi under root m upon k E. And this is nothing but time period, because this is 1 upon omega under root m upon k. So 2 pi over omega is t, so TE. So this is your area. Now you can find directly, but what if the potentialism is not of this kind? Then how can we find the area? So first let's see if we get the j same as we getting here by using the proper method of integration. So let's see. When p equal to 0, we know x will be this. When x equal to 0, p will be this. Now j, x angle variable, is nothing but integration p dx. Now find the value of p from here. So it will be e minus kx square by 2, and 2m will be in multiplication under root. This will be equal to p. Now substituting p here and dx. Now we will find the area of only this first quadrant. So it will be 0 to, limit will be x, 0 to under root 2e by k. So area will be that, and multiply with 4, you will get complete area. So that value should be came out to be this. So let's see if we are getting the same value or not. So p equal to this. Now 4 p dx, and dx, x is going from 0 to under root 2e by k. Now we need to integrate this. First take the e common out. So e, it will be 1 minus k by 2e x square, and it will be outside under root 2me. Now we need to integrate this. So let's make this, take this substitution, under root kx by 2e, under root k by 2e into x equal to t. So it will be 1 minus t square here. From here dx will be under root 2e by k dt. So it will be dx will came out here. So under root 2me under root 2e by k dt 1 minus t square. Limit will be changed. For x equal to 0, t will be 0. For x equal to 2e by k, t equal to 1. So limit will be 0 to 1. Now you need to solve this integral. So you can substitute here again. T equal to sine theta, it will give you cos theta here, and dt will be cos theta d theta. So you will get cos square theta d theta. And for theta equal to 0, t will be 0. For t equal to 1, theta will be pi by 2. So limit will be 0 to pi by 2, and cos square theta d theta. Now see, cos square theta can be written in terms of, cos 2 theta equal to 2 cos square theta minus 1. So 1 plus cos square theta equal to, means 1 plus cos 2 theta divided by 2 is equal to cos square theta. So in place of cos square theta, we will substitute that, and we will get this thing. 1 plus cos 2 theta, and 2 will cancel out here, 1, 2. So you will get, in place of 8, you will get 4 here. Now you can solve this. When you integrate this, it will be sine 2 theta divided by 2. So that will came out to be 0 for these limits. So you will get only theta here, and theta will give you pi by 2 minus 0. So it will be pi by 2 from here. Now see, this is again under root m by k. So it will be, means you can cancel out this. So it will be 2 pi under root m by k e. So 2 pi under root m by k is nothing but t, time period, and e. So you are getting the j or action angle variable same as you getting here, te. Now let's see how to find the time period. If you differentiate this j with respect to e, so whatever you are getting after this is called a time period. So it is a time period. So if you take any potential and solve for that, and in the last you will differentiate this j with respect to e, then whatever you are getting here is called the time period. So that's how you can see for the simple harmonic oscillator you are getting only t. It is, and this t is not depending on energy. Okay, so that's how we already know this thing, that in a simple harmonic oscillator time period is independent of energy or the amplitude of the oscillator. Okay, let's see, you know this, that if whatever the length or whatever the energy there is, that time period will always remain same. It will depend on 2 pi under root L by G. So it will remain same whatever energy you are giving it. So time period will remain same for the simple harmonic oscillator. So in case of harmonic oscillator, time period is independent of the energy or the amplitude of the oscillation. So that's how this prove this thing, because time period is only t, independent of energy. But this won't be the case for different kind of potentials. So we'll see the general case now. In case of harmonic oscillator it is same, but now if we take v equal to 1 by 2 kxn, there we take only x square 2, but now we have taken a general case, and this x is to the power n, and n can be even only. Okay, because for n is even, only then this potential is defined for the bound motion. So now the particle's total energy will be p square by 2m plus this potential energy equal to total energy. Now p will be under root 2m e minus half kxn. Now what is the means, again for this you will get the phase trajectory, same this kind of phase trajectory you will get, but this won't be ellipse now. Means it will be a closed trajectory, but it is not necessary that that will be ellipse, because it is ellipse only for the x to the power 2, but it can be x to the power 4 also, but then you will get something like this, but that won't be ellipse. So again, if you substitute these values for p equal to 0, you will get x equal to 2e by k 1 by n. So p equal to 0 means it will be here, so this value will be under 2e by k 1 by n, and for x equal to 0, p will be 2me 1 by 2. So it will remain same, but x value will be changed. So now you will again find the area of this first quadrant, and limit will be 0 to that one value for the general case, and multiply with 4 will give you total area, that is j, x and angle variable. Now j's phase won't be ellipse but bound, so I already told you this thing. So j's will be j's closed integral p dx. So for p dx, it is for the first quadrant, so it will be p is here, from here multiply dx, and limit, you know, limit will be 0 to 2e by k 1 by n. Now see, we are getting this thing, again take an e common out, so it will be this. Now we need to make here 1 minus tn. So to make this tn, we will take k by 2e to the 1 by n x equal to t. From here you can see, if you take the power n here, so it will be equal to tn, and tn will be equal to k upon 2e xn. So you will get tn here. So you will substitute this. From here we can find the value of dx. Dx will be, it is same as 2e by k 1 by n multiply dt. So in place of dx you will substitute this. So here it came, and inside you will get 1 minus tn dt. So this can transform to this form. Now again limit will be changed to 0 to 1, because for x equal to 0, t will be 0, and for x equal to this 2e by k 1 by n, you will get 1. So it will be 0 to 1 minus tn, and this is a definite integral, means you will get something constant value out of it. So we'll calculate it, take as c, some constant c1. So this is c1, so j will be 4 c1, and this under root e, and it is 1 e to the power 1 by 2, e to the power 1 upon n, so it will give you e to the power 1 upon 2 plus 1 upon n, and 2 to the power 1 upon n, k1 upon n, and under root 2m. So all terms are here. In place of this integral, we write it as c1. So we are getting this thing. Now see, I already told you, when you find the differentiation of j with respect to e, whatever you are getting in the right hand side will be time period. So del j by del e will give you, this will came here and will be minus 1, so it will give you minus 1 upon 2. Now see, this is time period, and this all things are constant, and this t is depending on energy. Means in the simple harmonic oscillator you are getting e to the power 0, but here you are getting e to the value something. Means if you place 2 here for simple harmonic oscillator, you will get 0 here, so again time period will be independent of energy. But in general case, this is depending on e to the 1 upon n minus 1 2. So from here you can get this expression, that how time period relate with energy. So that will be time period is proportional to e to the 1 upon n minus 1 upon 2. Now from here you can find the frequency also. 1 upon t will give you frequency. So frequency is 1 upon t, and 1 upon e means minus of multiply with minus 1, so it will be 1 upon 2 minus 1 upon n. So frequency will be proportional to this term, and time period will be proportional to this term in the general case. So now we have these expression, and they also can ask you in the questions that how time period relate with the amplitude of the oscillation. Okay, so you can find that expression also. So let's see how you can find. Now see, A is the amplitude, and when this amplitude occur, so amplitude happens when there is this oscillation, and this came out to at this point, at the end of the point. This displacement is called the amplitude, and at this point total kinetic energy is 0 and potential energy is maximum. So put the kinetic energy equal to 0 and the x equal to A. So energy will be equal to half k x to the 1. In place of x we will write A. So total energy will be this. Now from here you can substitute the value of A in terms of E. So from here it will be 2E by k, 1 by n. Or you can directly write, because we know this expression, T is proportional to this. So in place of energy we will write that expression. So we'll get the T in terms of A. So 1 upon 2 k A n. So from here it will be A to the power 1 minus n by 2. So T is proportional to A to the power 1 minus n by 2. And again frequency will be minus of this, will give you n by 2 minus 1. So this is the relation, or the means proportionality of time period frequency with the amplitude. And here we have the relation between time period frequency with the energy. So question will be asked only from these relations, that how they relate. So let's see some questions. Find the dependency of frequency in bound motion on E and A if bound motion is taking place under non-linear force this. So force is given and we need to find a relation of frequency with E and A. So it is minus kx n. So n is 3 here. Now see, this is not n. N will be for the potential. So first find the potential. Potential will be f dx. So f dx will minus f dx will give you x4 by 4. Now this is your n. So n equal to 4. Now n equal to 4, you will substitute here 4. It will give you 1 minus 2 will be minus 1. So time period is proportional to a to the power minus 1. So time period is proportional to a to the power minus 1. Now what is the frequency from here? That will be t is proportional to a. So in terms of amplitude you will have time period this relation, but in terms of energy you will use these expressions. Means in place of n put the n equal to 4. So it will be 1 upon 4 minus 1 upon 2. It will give you minus 1 upon 4. So t is proportional to x e to the power minus 1 upon 4 here, and here it will be n equal to 4. So it will be minus 1 upon 4. So frequency will be this. So you will get t in terms of energy, that will be minus 1 upon 4. And from here you can calculate directly. Frequency will be 1 upon t. So 1 upon e will give you e to the 1 upon 4. So that is the relations. So you know how to find this. Let's see some more questions. Hamiltonian of a classical particle moving in 1D is given by this. So Hamiltonian is given, and from here you can see this is your potential energy, this is your kinetic energy. So potential energy q to the power 4. So it is x to the power 4 something. So n is 4 here. So available area of the phase space depends on the energy of the particle as. So available area of phase space. So we need to calculate the area of the phase space in terms of energy. So we know what is the formula for the area. That is this is your area, and this is depending on e to the power 1 upon 2 plus 1 upon n, and we are getting n equal to 4. So that will be 2 plus 1 3 and divided by 4. So it will be depending on e to the power 3 by 4. So this is equal to 3 by 4. This will be your answer first. Let's see one more question. A particle in 1D executes oscillatory motion in potential this. So potential is given, where A is greater than 0 is a constant of appropriate dimension if time period t of its oscillation depends on the total energy E as this. So time period depending on the energy as this. So we need to find the value of A. So see this e to the A for this potential here, x equal to 1 means n is 1 here, so x raised to power is 1. So in place of n put the 1 and find the relation for the time period. It will be 1 minus 1 upon 2, so e to the power 1 upon 2. So t is proportional to e to the power 1 upon 2. So in place of a, it will be 1 upon 2. So value of a will be 1 upon 2. Let's see the last question for today. Force experienced by a mass confined to a move along a x-axis is of the form this. So force is given, where x is the displacement of the mass from x equal to 0, k1, k2 are constants, positive constants, and n is a positive integer. For small displacement motion is symmetric about x equal to 0. So motion should be symmetric. We need to see which options are correct. So n can be any positive integer, n is odd positive integer only when n equal to 1, when n is an even positive integer. So when this system will be in symmetric oscillation, so we need to tell this. So first this potential should be a bound motion, only then this is possible. So this is force. What is the potential? Potential will be minus f dx. So this will give you different integration of this will give you x square by 2 minus, so k1 x square by 2 plus k2 x n plus 1 divided by n plus 1. Now see, this is your bound motion. This will give you symmetric motion, and this will give you symmetric motion only when this n plus 1 is even. So n plus 1 can be even when n is odd. So for all positive values of n which are odd, you will get a symmetric oscillatory motion. So which option is said that it is odd? So n is odd positive integer, so means this B option should be correct. But in C option you see it is only when n equal to 1. So when n equal to 1 it is possible, but not only when n equal to 1. So this option will be wrong only because this word only. So this B will be correct, that n is odd positive integer. So for any n positive odd integer you will get a symmetric oscillatory motion, because this will be even with n equal to odd. So see, I can tell you this thing, when this x n is odd, then you are getting the even terms and you will get this kind of curves. For this one, this will be your curve, and for if n is odd, you will get this will be your curve. So you will have a resultant curve in this way, and that will be a symmetric curve. But if this n is even, then this whole term will be odd, and you will get this kind of curve. And this is not a bound motion. You can see this. So this will give you something potential which won't be symmetric around this x equal to 0. So we need to check for which this will be x equal to 0, symmetric with respect to 0. So that's why this B option is correct only. So that's all for today. In the next lecture we will start with a new topic, that is small oscillations. So we'll meet you in the next lecture. Thank you everyone.